Are most still only scratching the surface?
Yeah, I think so. It's mind-boggling what's going to be next.
Last time you said building the AI agent is only like one part and the big opportunity is building the system around it. Do you still believe that?
I'm very cautious, but I'm just
Absolutely.
building these tools to help myself and share them with others if needed.
Where do you think agencies will still have leverage in the coming months and years if HighLevel keeps making these tools easier to use?
I think there's still going to be a market for this. There's people that don't want to touch this.
The one thing with the agency deal, why wouldn't they have done it directly inside workflows?
Yeah, you're going to start seeing a lot of that now. They're taking that probably to the next level.
What do you think, like in terms of agency, the AI features that agencies should explore?
I guarantee almost every user that's listening to this episode is not using Ask AI enough.
You've got a bit of a model there with landing pages and a demo that's custom.
I could build 500 demos in 15 minutes, already custom. And the beauty of it is they can talk to it and they can text with it and chat with it.
Welcome back to another episode on the HighLevel Experience podcast. Today, we've got a returning guest, a retired firefighter turned automation architect based in West Palm Beach, Florida. He's built 3 multi-million-dollar companies, led automation projects for more than 85 businesses, and has developed over 2,400 AI voice agents. When he joined us last time, we went deep into voice AI, prompt engineering, client onboarding, testing why the real opportunity is not just building an AI agent, but building the system around it. Since then, the AI space inside HighLevel has moved ridiculously fast. Voice AI, conversation employees, workflow automation, content creation, and sales assistants are no longer just nice-to-have features. They're quickly becoming part of how modern agencies deliver value. So today, I want to bring him back to talk about where all of this is heading, what agencies should be paying attention to now, and how to actually turn AI services into paying clients. Please welcome back to the show, Michael Reimer from CRM Pros.
Thanks, Vid. Thank you very much for having me back. I was looking forward to this for a couple of weeks now, so I'm excited to be here today with you and the entire audience.
Likewise, Michael. It's great to have you back, mate. Hey, last time you were on, we talked about voice AI as a big opportunity now. It feels like the market has cooled up. Every agency's talking about it. Every business owner is curious, and HighLevel is clearly moving towards this idea of an AI-powered operating system. Heck, they've even, when you go to their landing page, that's what they call themselves now, right?
Yeah, they rebranded. I was impressed with that.
Yeah. I'm curious to know, though, what from your point, like from where you sit, building these agents and working with real clients and agencies ahead of the curve right now, are most still only scratching the surface?
Yeah, I think so. I had the opportunity, I was in India for HighLevel doing a presentation there recently. Had the opportunity to run into Varun and spend some time with him. And I said, Varun, where do you think we're going to be in a year from now? Because I'm like kind of blown away. And he's really, my eyes. He goes, I don't really know. And I said, yeah, I don't know either. It's moving so fast that it's mind boggling to me. But what I really enjoy is, like you just mentioned, one of the things that's exciting to me is that HighLevel is not reactive. They're being proactive with all of this. And basically, like you said, they rebranded into an AI operating system, almost no more CRM. They're really more than that now. They've went all in on AI features, which you could see sprinkled throughout the entire platform. I recently was looking at doing a full course on every AI feature in HighLevel. And 3 months ago, there was like 11 features, and now there's 100 features that are using AI, little artifacts of AI throughout the system. It's really fascinating. And HighLevel is moving fast too. They're not moving slow. When I was in India, I spoke to a lot of the development team. And a lot of people don't know this, but they now are using Claude Code. Each of the developers are doing a lot of vibe coding now. So you're seeing them, which I'm impressed with, polishing up a lot of loose ends and also rapidly deploying new features. And one of the things that not only vibe coding, but they also eliminated a lot of the red tape. So what normally would take them a month to 2 or 3 months to deploy, they're now committing to deploy features in 24 hours. And that to me is amazing. Just AI Studio, great product. It's infancy stage. It's still in beta and it's still really decent. It's a great product. It's going to even get better and better. It's mind boggling what's going to be next. But I think you're going to see, like you said, it's going to be an AI operating system. And I think that there's going to be a lot more integrations to come. But really, they have a voice manager. I'm big into the voice stuff, as you mentioned on the intro. But they're not standing still on that either. They're building constantly on that platform. They redid the UI. They're introducing new features. Now you can book to 30 calendars. I don't even know of a system that does that. And then voice cloning now, just everything that they're adding more and more stuff into that. And then I was talking with the development team just this past week. What do you see coming down the pike? And basically now we're doing text to speech, right? But in the future, which is going to be very soon, you're going to see speech to speech. So it's going to increase the amount of languages we could do very shortly. And then also it's going to decrease the latency. And that's pretty important for everybody. So the quality is going to go up, and the user is going to have a much better experience, and they're not stopping with the features. And what else can you really ask for? They're building a heck of a system. I don't mean to talk a lot of it, but one of the things that really blows me away is that some people are saying, oh, we don't need HighLevel anymore. And I totally disagree. I really do. And the reason I disagree is because HighLevel is the best bang for your buck that I've ever seen in a software product. And I truly believe that, or I wouldn't be sitting here, because if I had another option, I would already be in it. And honestly, I've never seen where you can pay for their premium product, $497 a month, and have 1 million people underneath you using that product. I've never seen a software product do that.
Oh,
So
absolutely, yeah. This year is going to be my 6th year. In about a week time, I'm going to get ticked. My credit card's going to get ticked for another annual renewal, and I'm going to do it without a heartbeat. I've got customers on it. It's a brilliant platform. And like you said, there's a thing of opportunity loss. There's a thing of shiny syndrome. The technology overall, outside of HighLevel, like in general, it's crazy, absolutely. But I have noticed, me personally, this shift being on Facebook, where a lot of HighLevel mates and people sharing their own CRMs and vibe coding things and this and that. And I've seen them. I've been on the calls with a couple of mates, and what they've done, it's truly impressive. But is it something that I would want to build my business on? Is it a distraction? Why wouldn't I just continue to build it on something that has 900 or so developers, and you can't really compete against it? And that's just like the tech aspect. But then in terms of the responsibility compliance, HighLevel is now SOC 2 compliant. HighLevel has the infrastructure that you can sleep at night knowing your SaaS customers are on the platform that you're providing on the backbone of this $1 billion company that has the infrastructure. So if something goes belly up, it's not on your shoulders, it's on their shoulders. So it's an interesting one.
Yeah, for sure. To me, for the $497 a month, and you get over 650 features and unlimited accounts underneath you, it's a no-brainer. But if you want to use other products that are going to bolt on to enhance that experience, yeah, you can do that without a problem. And they're allowing that to happen more freely now. But at the end of the day, you hit the nail on the head. I want to have HighLevel as the hub, and have maybe all these, what you're calling shiny object tools around the spokes, allow them to utilize some features of the hub. And I see that being the real future. I'm very careful about jumping on new tech too early. In other words, I will not go on just because it's easy to get all the hype and say, oh my God, look at this latest thing. And people hype it up and say, oh my God, they get really crazy with it. I'm very restrictive on that. I'd rather let it run through its paces. When a new model comes out, I can't say within 20 hours if it's great or not. It's going to take me a week or two, and I'm going to be the last one to the race. And I'm totally good with that, because at the end of the day, I'm not going to just switch tech because it's the latest thing that just hit the street. I'm going to switch tech if it makes sense to me and my clients to do. Not only financials, one thing. With AI, people are saying, oh, I want to save tokens. In my eyes, that's the least of my worries. The amount of money that you're saving on hours and manpower and time, the tokens are a very minuscule part of that. And I'll spend top dollar on the best models, the more tokens, just to have performance and output. That's just me. That's how I do it. But like I said, there's a lot of hype that people like to say, oh my gosh, I'm running the latest thing. At the end of the day, maybe it's going to last, maybe it won't. But I think the stable piece here is HighLevel. I really believe it. And like I said, I wouldn't be here if I didn't think so. And
Yeah.
I was talking to them the other day. It's funny because at the beginning of the year, they said, oh, we're going to ramp up AI developers to around 110 AI developers. And when I spoke to them the other day, they said they're going to keep it at 40 because they're getting 10x the output by using vibe coding tools.
Yeah, it's unreal. Hey, last time you said building the AI agent is only like one part and the big opportunity is building the system around it. Do you still believe that, or has the agent technology now become strong enough to stand on its own?
So I have agents. I'm building agents and I'm doing things a little bit different. I'm building agents for my own use, not really to sell to clients. I'm using it to build out things that I didn't think were possible. But I'm finding that a lot of the models have some guardrails that I need to overcome. And I'm going to actually, for once, because I was very hesitant to do it, I'm going to actually invest in hardware. So I'm going to do a hybrid model where I'm going to use some local models, but yet I'm going to use some cloud-based models as well. And because you can bundle these subscriptions in pretty reasonably, but HighLevel is not going anywhere. I'm utilizing that on the back end as well. But I'm building these agents out. I'm letting them have a certain amount of latitude, but you could build them very responsibly and have checks in place that makes them pretty much safe. I don't allow it to have full access to my email and they can't send emails out on my behalf. I'm not doing that. I wouldn't let HighLevel do that. I'm not going to do it with an agent on its own. I would always have it maybe draft an email and then that would be it. I'm not going to let them spend on my behalf. Do you know right now that Stripe released, you could have an agent buy stuff on Stripe right now? Stripe has that capacity. So I'm not really keen on that yet. I'm very cautious, but there's so much they can do. If it can be done on a computer, you can have an agent do it. They can browse a computer. It can pretty much do everything. I did some testing with Facebook. I had the agent go out and sign up for its own Facebook account and set up its own profile to include avatar, everything, and join groups. It does everything. It's a wild situation out there. It's really crazy. So
Yeah,
that's just me. I'm just
absolutely.
building these tools to help myself and share them with others if needed.
Well, since I've met you, I've been seeing you everywhere. So obviously, the way you're explaining it, it sounds you're downplaying it. I think the stuff that you do is awesome. I don't know if you wanted to share any of the latest stuff since last time we talked that is notable to mention.
We're automating our day to day is basically what I'm doing. And I don't think I have a full team. We have 12 guys and girls that are working day and night to help our community. Our community's grown from 40 days ago now to 1,500. And we're still full service. AI is not going to replace any of them. But we're in the point now where we're getting them, every single employee, their own subscriptions on various products. And we're also, like I said, building agents to do things that we don't have time to do, or we can automate it so we can stay focused on other aspects. So agents building courses can be done easily. Right now, one of the big hurdles for me is doing screen shares and instruction inside HighLevel. So we're building agents to learn HighLevel inside and out and perform their own screen shares so they can do recordings and make them visually appealing and show features step by step. So we're building those out, a lot of course creation.
So kind of like customer submits a support request, and we know the quickest way to solve it is just send them a Loom video, so that you can avoid having to have more back and forth, not have to have a meeting with them. Loom a lot of times solves it. What you're talking about is the AI would create that Loom video and send it to the customer.
Yeah, and also create, like if I'm going to do a course on voice AI, I can have it do just the screen recordings for me. I already have a system built that my VAs can do screen recordings, but then it substitutes my voice in place of theirs and my video in place of theirs. So they could do a lot of the legwork for me, and then I would just rebrand those. But now I wanted to do it totally automatic and learn HighLevel inside and out. But it's a challenge because think about it, HighLevel changes so much. There's a learning curve there. Even the agents can't keep up with that. I'm putting 2 agents full-time on just learning HighLevel full-time. That's all they would do, is know everything about it. They know how to access help. They know how to do everything. And I can direct them to do exactly that, do screen recordings that look amazing.
Yeah. And customer support is such an important aspect of it all, right? When it comes to adoption. More and more these days, I'm thinking like in terms of like even my own SaaS, like repositioning it more where I'm no longer going to hide the fact that we are built on GHL. I'm going to embrace it that we are built on GHL. And because and the proof is in the pudding. I spoke to a couple of people and they actually told me we've done that. We're actually getting more business because HighLevel is now so known. Even in what was it? The other day, I had somebody came over in our old house back in Australia and they were installing an aircon unit. That was about 6 months ago. And when they were leaving, spoke to the guy about, just mentioned, hey, I do this. And is it HighLevel? I'm like, yeah, oh, yeah, we just sign up directly. Yeah, we're just trying to get our head wrapped around it. So when I heard it, I'm like, okay, well, businesses are now going direct as well. Obviously, the second part of it is, are they going to succeed without proper support or not? That's another story. But HighLevel is known. It's no longer what is HighLevel, right? Building that and changing our brand messaging, at least for us, what I'm planning to do in the near future, go over my website and go over my marketing messaging, everything, is to highlight that we are technology platform built on back of HighLevel. We have our own additional tech stack. We have our own proprietary onboarding and support and success resources and tools. And basically the main thing I want to be known for is we help businesses with adoption of HighLevel, because adoption, still to this day, a lot of businesses who go direct, they struggle with it. There's more and more features being released every day. It's only going to get harder to really comprehend what can be done with it. Yes, you can do some basic stuff, but then very quickly, then you're going to be like, what am I paying for if I'm not fully utilizing all these other things? And you're going to get lost in the weeds. Not to mention, if you're a plumber, if you got your day-to-day job, you shouldn't really try and have to get your hat wrapped around it, have somebody in your corner. So I think positioning ourselves as we are a provider of HighLevel, we help you adopt it, we're in your corner, and we're local, I think it'll work.
Yeah, for sure. I used to try to hide it and be like, oh, what do you use? I'm like, oh, it's our own system. But let's face it, all it takes is a few minutes and you go on Google and put a few things in and all of a sudden they're already going to know that you're using HighLevel on the back end. So I don't hide it at all. I wear a hat that says HighLevel pretty much almost every single day. I've met some of my biggest clients as a result of that, just wearing a hat. And my law clients are our biggest client, and we met them by accident just by wearing a hat because they signed up just like you said and they had nowhere to turn a week before. So I agree with you. I don't hide it. I just basically tell them, like, listen, HighLevel's the bus, but we're the driver. And we, like you said, we have systems that we bolt on the HighLevel and we do it either custom or semi-custom for you and make it effective. But also, like, I've noticed, like, now we're helping so many agency owners, people that want to. Why do people want to use HighLevel? Well, they're sick of working for somebody else, perhaps, or they're a stay-at-home mom and they want to do a side hustle, or whatever the reason is. They want to own their own business. They want to have freedom, or supplement their day job. There's a lot of reasons why people do it, but they're basically becoming agencies, and that's who we're helping for the most part. Yeah, we're doing some direct businesses for sure. But now it seems like most of the people we're helping are agency owners that are looking to start their own business and expand that for their own use. But it's amazing. Like I said, features are coming out rapid fire. I've never seen anything like it. It's every day now. There's 8 features every single day. And I know when my head is spinning, when I see them coming in all day long, that I know what a new user must feel like. They're probably like, oh my gosh, I don't even know what to do. And I'll never forget, and I think you just touched on it a bit, is like when I first started, I haven't been using the platform nearly as long as you are. But I'll never forget when I first opened it, I was like so overwhelmed, and I did the same thing that I see a lot of agency owners do. They binge on YouTube and they try to struggle and figure it out themselves. I knew right then and there was just so many conflicts of information. I said, the only way I'm going to do this, and because I'm very stringent, is I signed up for the admin program. And that's really what got me over the hump. It just basically, I know it's so silly, but it's $97 a month. It's not a huge amount of money, but when you put a couple of bucks on the line and you say, listen, I'm paying for this and I want to utilize it, it's going to get me through. And I passed the test. And I already knew right then and there, this is amazing. But I already knew when I passed that test, I knew I wasn't a high-level expert. Because if you think you're a high-level expert, when you pass that exam, you're sadly mistaken. So to me, that's just the tip of the iceberg. And then if you think I kid about this, but it's really true. HighLevel doesn't know everything about HighLevel, and they're developing it. So that's almost a
Yeah.
joke, but it's really honest. They don't even know because I've taught them things and they've taught me things and you've taught me things. I probably taught you things. So that's just how it is. And it's such a massive product and it's so ultra flexible that you'll never know everything about it. And quite frankly, I probably wouldn't be sitting here if it was so easy to master because I would be bored already. And if it was so easy to master, wouldn't everyone do it? And we'd have everyone doing it, right? But it's semi-custom for the most part. And there's a lot of opportunities for people, not only their own business, but to start their own business selling to others. So
You may not realize this, but for the last 2 years, I've had a secret weapon that has made running my business inside of HighLevel so much easier. You see, there is so much that HighLevel can do, which is amazing, but it's a lot of work to stay up to date with it. And even more so if my customers are asking me questions about it. And this is why I'm excited to announce that our show is officially part of the HLPT Creator Network. This is HighLevel Pro Tools, an organization that I've been using to run support for my customers, as well as give me a ton of awesome epic add-ons that make running, launching, and differentiating my SaaS inside of HighLevel so much easier. And now that they're an official sponsor of the show, they've done something pretty bloody awesome. If you go to hlpt.com/experience, you can get one of their incredible tools absolutely for free. No purchase necessary, just for being a listener on the show. So head over to hlpt.com/experience, grab that free tool, and I promise you this is going to improve the conversion rates on your page. Check out all the other stuff that they offer and tell them that Pete sent you.
You know what's wild? There's a smarter way to grow your agency and help more local businesses without adding more stress. That's what HighLevel does. It's your all-in-one sales, marketing, automation, and AI system. No more duct taping tools together or paying for 20 different subscriptions that barely talk to each other. I've been using it for 5 years with my own white-level version, Stand Out from the Pack, helping Aussie businesses like Dimitri, a Canberra electrician, who now runs his jobs, quotes, calls, and follow-ups with our built-in AI employee. If you're an agency, HighLevel lets you do exactly that. Support your clients in new ways while building stable, recurring revenue every month. And if you're a local business, partner up with somebody who knows your market and your industry. If you're in Tasmania, my mate Jared from Boulder Digital, for example, has you covered. If you're in Canberra, that's my turf. Check out standoutfromthepack.com.au and we'll get you sorted. The point is, there's probably a high-level agency or SaaSpreneur near you. We're seasoned marketers, tech-savvy super nerds who love helping local businesses grow. We're global, we're connected, we're high-levelers. Now, I've got something really special for you guys. I've negotiated an exclusive 30-day HighLevel trial that's double the usual just for you. Sign up your agency through gohighlevel.com/vid or upgrade your existing plan, and I'll hook you up with over $3,200 worth of bonuses, resources, templates, and snapshots I normally give to my private clients only. So whether you're scaling an agency or leveling up your business, start with the right system. GoHighLevel.com/vid or team up with your local SaaSpreneur and let's make business simple again. One platform, one login, no duct tape, just results. Yeah. Now, there's an interesting thing with HighLevel. I've noticed certain tools are getting easier to use or easy to understand, right? They're doing a really good job at explaining when you, say, for the first time you land on, say, automations page as a feature and there's no automation, you got this little, like a starting tutorial, right? So it makes it easier for people to understand and adopt it to a point where certain things becoming quite easy to use. Where do you think agencies will still have leverage in the coming months and years if HighLevel keeps making these tools easier to use?
I think there's still going to be a market for this. There's people that don't want to touch this. There's people that are not as tech savvy as the current user base that's using this product. We surround ourselves with high-level users, so we think everyone is at that level of experience and that are that tech savvy. But there's a lot of people that are not, and they're always going to be out there. The other thing is they're sprinkling all these AI features, as I mentioned when we started the episode. They're sprinkling all these features throughout. I use them myself, and I use it to make my life easier and my team's life easier. And I'll give you an example because I know you're really good at workflows, right? Well, I try to dream up crazy ideas and make them a reality. That's kind of what I try to do. I have a problem, I'm going to solve it. And let's just say it's a workflow. I get up early, I'm having my coffee, I dream up this crazy idea. Well, in the past, I would have to relay that to my team and say, hey guys, this is what I'm thinking. And what they produce is totally different than what's in my head. I use a hybrid approach. I will go in there, I will document it on a Word doc for my own use. I'll go in there, I will put it into the AI workflow builder, which has come a long way, really a long way. And I'll get it about 90 to 95% there. And then I'll tell my team, hey guys, it's done. I named it, it's in draft. You guys take it from here and get it operational. And there's no confusion, and it works out so well. And that's almost everything we're doing now is almost like a hybrid approach. So it saves us so much time, Vin. And the products are getting better. And what's coming in the future here pretty quickly, I don't know if you've seen it, but they're reworking Agent Studio, not to be confused with AI Studio, the vibe code builder, which is doing the websites and funnel pages. The Agent Studio, totally redoing it. And I got a glimpse of that last week. And I think everyone's going to be pleasantly surprised when that comes out, because it's truly amazing. They're going to have over 650 skills built into that Ask AI feature. And that Ask AI is going to be a major component of this product. And I think you guys will be blown away when you see it, because I was.
The one thing with the Agent Studio, which has always been, I've been curious, why wouldn't they have done it directly inside workflows? Why wouldn't they merge the two together? Because you're in the Agent Studio and your agent's doing certain things, but what if it had the waterfall actions that we're used to? You could, that makes sense, right? Like, why wouldn't it be bundled?
Yeah, you're going to start seeing a lot of that now. So they're taking that product to the next level. It was a good product if you really spent the time and figured it out. But it was a difficult learning to learn it. It was a really challenging. I'm pretty tech savvy, but what I really liked about it is that you could bring in virtually any outside system, but now you're going to be able to do it with ease. So what's coming out hopefully in the next couple of weeks is going to be truly amazing. And I think just like AI Studio, it's still in beta. It'll be in beta when it comes out, but it's not done. It's going to be more and more features. I tested AI Studio, the builder, the web page builder and all that before it was released. It was a fraction of what it is now. And they're releasing daily updates on that product. So it's so funny. I used to think HighLevel was crazy. They would do this skateboard model that everyone talks about, and some people knock them. But I've been doing a lot of app development, both on iOS and Windows and Play Store, Google Play Store, App Store, Apple App Store. And I try to test everything to get it perfect, and it's virtually impossible. So they're actually smart, because if they're vibe coding, they basically do their round of testing. They have a senior engineer look at that, and then they put it on the street. And the only really way to get real feedback is put it on the street, let people beat it up, give them feedback. And when you're vibe coding, when you're getting those problems coming in, it's easy to fix. But they can spend years trying to some of these complex features to test them before they release them. It would never happen. So I used to knock them. I didn't used to knock them, but I see a lot of people knocking them because they think it's being released too early. But actually, they're pretty smart in the long run, because they get to the end goal a lot faster, and they use a lot of us in the beta phase or alpha and beta phase to get there. It's pretty smart.
Having said that, though, I have noticed that it's not much of a skateboard anymore when it comes to new release. It's a little bit further beyond that. Even Robin, he said, Byron's actually really active in the community recently, which I really like. And he's like, yeah, guys,
Me too.
I mean, I know how we've been doing it over the years, skateboard, but these days we generally release something that's more like a car.
Yeah, I agree.
That's thanks to the volume and how many staff members, and they now have that infrastructure to do that and still maintain that speed. So it's interesting. But back to you, in terms of what you've become really known for in the community and how you, at least how I've seen it, you rise to the top. You've been very helpful sharing what's been working for you with voice AI originally, right? Now, last year, you and I, we had a bunch of one-to-one meetings as well, and also on the podcast. And I know you've been big on the quality of the voice AI agents that you put out, but the way you've been doing it, at least the way I remember you saying it, is you just spend a lot of rounds of calls with the voice AI, and you just like, that's how you've been doing it. Is that how you still do it? Because that cannot be scalable.
I still do that. We do a lot of calls. We have our own little methodology. So essentially, I can ramp up a voice agent in probably on average 15 minutes to 30 minutes, right? But then I would probably take another half an hour just to test it. And my methodology is very simple. So we have our prompt and we have the business, and we start the call, and maybe the first call only lasts 10 seconds. Maybe I never even get through the first message, but I'm going to stop and I'm going to fix it. And then I'm going to keep going until I've been through the entire call. Then I'm going to go through and I'm going to pretend I'm a customer, and I'm going to go through each lane. So if it's somebody says, hey, listen, I need to make an appointment for new XYZ, I'm going to go through that. If somebody has to escalate to a human, I'm going to do that. I'm going to test every aspect of that. And then my final round of testing, and I do it a little different, is I call it a stress test. But basically, I don't care what the agent says on the other line, on the other side. I just basically rapid fire every single question about that company off the knowledge base or in the prompt or anything in general about the company. So I ask you, like, hey, where do I park when I get there? What do I do? What, are you open Saturdays? Are you open Sundays? Are you open during the week? And just rapid fire them. And then it's the same thing as HighLevel, though. We're going to release it to the wild, and people are going to talk to it totally different than I talk to it. So we're very careful about monitoring for the first 7 days and listening to those voice calls and make sure that everything is getting picked up like we imagined it to, because sometimes you could be off. People are talking to it from a different approach. And then I would caution everybody to do that, because I try to catch it before the client catches it. I don't want the client catching it. I'd rather fix it quickly. And pay attention. Keep the recordings on and pay attention. See if every call's getting transferred to a human, you got a problem. Because we want 80 to 90% of the calls to be handled by AI. And if we're transferring to a human every single call, then there's an issue. So that either you miss something in the prompting or something's not right. The other thing is that people, just a tip for the audience here, a lot of people don't realize, but if you're going to keep recording on and you're going to keep recording forever and ever, you're racking up unnecessary expenses, because HighLevel will charge you for that. And rightly, you're using their space. So I would toggle that little toggle on that deletes the recordings after 90 days for sure. And then if you don't need to record them after that, then you can totally turn that off. But I like having the recordings for reference, but definitely toggle that on.
So the framework, to recap, the framework is you go through all the different scenarios that are typical from what people might be asking about. That's a no-brainer. And it's a good framework because it's pretty easy to follow regardless of what business is. Then you go through round of testing on the voice until you get to the end of the conversation fully without a glitch. Then you see if it trips up on a knowledge base. And then you do the first week of monitoring the conversation. So basically from the point of somebody requesting AI to get built, you go through the fulfillment, the first 7 days done. It's all about being proactive. And then do I understand correctly then, to make it scalable, then it turns into being more reactive if the customer finds something, they can reach out, because you can't monitor it forever, right?
No, but the other thing is, if HighLevel makes some drastic changes, we'll definitely take a peek at that and make sure that we're not having an effect. But also, there's a couple of key things here that we need to make sure that the clients know, and also your listeners too. If they're going to be selling this as a service, one of the big things that these clients have an issue with is what you love is monthly reoccurring revenue, right? So they treat people that are selling voice agents almost like a web host. So if you're not proactive on that, when you do your first discovery call and let them know, listen, we're not asleep at the wheel here. We have to be proactive and keep an eye on this. This is not like a website where you build the website, you're hosting it, and no one's touching it until the client calls you to make changes. It doesn't work like that. I would suggest a monthly review and just run through it and make sure there's no issues. But also set the expectation early on that if you don't want us to touch it, you're going to have a car with no wheels in 6 months, because AI is changing every single day. HighLevel's changing rapidly. There may be new features that you'd want implemented, and we would do that for you. So those are all things to think about. And like I said, their main heartache is not paying you for the setup. People don't have a problem with that. psychologically, because they know it's like a semi-custom product you're selling them. But they do have a problem when you say, I'm going to charge you every month, because they think you're getting paid to do nothing. And even after you collect your first payment, it's important that you set up a process in your company, in your agency, to notify the client with a report at the end of the month and say, hey, listen, we handled this many calls, we booked this many appointments. We're doing our thing on the back end, even though you think we're sleeping, we're really not. So give them that data, because they're quick to realize that they're paying you, but they forget what you're doing. Try to keep them abreast and let them know with data that you're actually monitoring and taking care of their business.
Back in 2020 or 2021, it was on my other podcast that I had, is when I had Sean Clark on. He was on one of my interviews, and he said this when he ran his old business, Invoice Sherpa, which was business to remind people about their upcoming invoices being overdue. Simple business. But what he found, I don't know if it was that business or another business that he had, but he said that the one thing that he found that like significantly decreased his churn was automatic reporting to his customers about just the activity, what's happening. So I believe it. Now, HighLevel has the account reporting, which has been brilliant. I've seen something about conversation or voice reporting specifically as well. I don't know if it was dreaming or not, but how do you do it?
Yeah, you could pull a lot of that data. You can see how many calls there were, how many people. So if you go to that dashboard on the voice section, you'll see a section that says triggers as an example. It'll tell you every trigger that was triggered, every action that was done. So you can do that very easily. You can do that for the month and generate a report pretty simply. And you could almost automate that as well. You can use, you could take a screenshot of that dashboard and have any one of the AI providers build you a quick overview report and just keep recycling that for your customers. Pretty simple to do. As they keep increasing the endpoints that they're tying into the MCP server, I bet you're going to see more and more of that to be totally easier and easier as we go along. But it could be done now, but it may take a little bit of more legwork, but it could definitely be done now. But yeah, I think that's important, is like you have to set the expectation before you even take their first deposit, and then do it after, because if you don't, they're going to leave. And I've seen people that came to me and I said, oh, how's it going? You got your first client? They're like, yeah. And I said, how much did you charge them for the setup? And their setup was reasonable. And I said, well, how much you charging them monthly? And I was blown away. I was like, and some people would say, oh my God, that's so great. You're getting a massive monthly reoccurring revenue on this client. But I have to almost think that would be short-lived. You have to be responsible on that monthly figure, because that's what people get heartache over, from what I've seen. I think we mentioned this on the last time I was here. I don't know if I did or not, but we try to bundle it into 5 distinct services as one product. And all of the things that we bundle into one product is a moneymaker for people. And it's easy to deploy every single time. It's simple. My staff can do it easily. And it's repeatable, and it fits 98% of the businesses out there. So we don't even niche down. A lot of people in HighLevel are like, oh, niche down, and you could be the voice guy for electricians. Well, it takes me the same amount of work to deal with a voice agent from an electrician today, to a plumber tomorrow, to an AC guy, to a roof guy, to a guy cleaning swimming pools. It's the same thing for me. I don't have to know everything about being an electrician to do these 5 things that we do. And that's database reactivation, reputation management, voice AI, conversational AI, and back up their website with workflows to speed the lead and just get some automation on their website. If you do those things, it'll do every business. And then guess what happens after that bit? They're going to ask you to do more work. That's a foot in the door almost. And then you have to make the edge. We were talking before this podcast. At that point, you have to make an educated decision. You have to say, listen, do I want to take on this extra work, even though it's a big paycheck, and stop from what I'm doing over and over again and get lured into that? Or would you rather just stay focused on what you do and handle 10 more of these and have less headache and more hair than me and you have, right?
That's an important distinction. It's not about the hair, but
yeah,
deciding on the model, because I'm a big fan of that model too, where the first layer is the scalable layer, and then the second layer is the optional layer. And it's also making it easier for acquisition of new customers if it's an easy way to get in and easy to fulfill on the front end. Because, like I said, you give them quick wins, they're excited. Oftentimes it's enough. Not everybody needs super custom stuff. or advanced stuff. But if you do have skills and those customers come, then it's a nice little extra cream on top. So for sure. I was going to pick your brain on what do you think. So we talk about voice. I know conversation AI is another one that we talked about last year. And the big thing was, and I'd still think to this day, Closebot being more a premium option. But what do you think, like in terms of agency, in terms of high level, the AI features that agencies should explore?
I guarantee almost every user that's listening to this episode is not using Ask AI enough because it's very powerful. It'll set up your brand board. It can build courses for you in your communities. It's just so many things. Honestly, I go into there pretty regularly, like maybe every 2 weeks, and I tell it to give me a list of what it can do, and that list is growing. That'll tell you what it'll tell you exact. Ask AI to tell you what it can do, and that list is constantly growing. But I think that feature you're going to see on steroids here very quickly. The voice stuff is obviously growing, and they're doing a really great job with that, building on top of that current product. Remember that product 2 years ago? You couldn't even book to a calendar. You had to send a link. But now we're booking to 30 calendars, and we went from 20 voices. Now we're at like 320 voices. It keeps getting better and better. The conversational AI layer is doing much better as well. The program manager there is doing a great job. They just redid the UI UX for that 2 days ago, and it's very similar to the voice product now. So they changed that, and that's getting better. They're not stopping. It's just going to continue to get better and better. And I agree with you. Closebot is a great product. The team over there does a wonderful job. There's not even a dispute about that. But there's a lot of people that may not need all those features and functions that are out there. They just want to have it handle they're HighLevel's building it for the majority. So that's what they're doing. But there's a lot of little features that people don't realize that are built into some of these bigger. And I just mentioned it before. I said, oh, we do reputation management. Well, people think, oh, you're just going to handle reviews. Well, that's one little piece of it. People, they don't respond to reviews, obviously, but HighLevel now, you can go retroactive on responding to reviews. So if you get a client that hasn't responded to reviews in 3 years, you can go back and do that. But more often, better than that, you could put a widget on their website and you can post it to their social media on autopilot. You could set that up once for your client and never touch it again. And I haven't touched mine in a year.
Yeah.
And it's doing its thing.
The big thing about reputation and reviews is you need to leverage it. You need to show it everywhere, because if there's one thing that improves conversion out of anything else, is the social proof. So if you can leverage every single Google review through socials, you could automate it. Now with video testimonials, you could automate that all the way down to you now have a video widget. So every new testimonial shows up on the website. I think that's the missing point. A lot of people think, oh, it's great for SEO, for your Google, if you get more reviews and all that. That's totally true. But the only people who will see it is if they're searching for your business. But there are people who are checking you online, they're landing on your website because now they're maybe in the consideration/decision mode as far as funnel goes.
Exactly.
You want to make sure that you have a system that continually shows those new, fresh 5-star reviews there and just leverage the heck out of it. If you got a really good, well-written one, turn it into a full case study, put it into your lead nurture, or reach out to the client and say, hey, could I do one day, come to you and for one day just bring my video crew and we'll just shoot a proper big testimonials, because obviously you took it extra time and you wrote this long review on Google. We've worked together. You've done you've had such a great results with what we've done. Then you can have those really featured, proper, dedicated landing page case study on the industry. And what I like, this is the extra work that needs to be done, but the upside is, and we talked about niching down or not niching down. I'm kind of with you on not niching down, but I'm also a fan of niching down. So a bit of a hybrid where you have your main website and it's kind of like niche agnostic, but then you have an industries page. So people can then click through, because if they're coming to you and they're landing on a generic website, they want to know, is there somebody like me who they've helped? So if they can search particular industry, so you got to do both, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and the other thing is, you just mentioned like AI could put these on a dedicated page. That is the perfect use for AI Studio. I think a lot of people are missing the mark a little bit on that. I'm not going to use AI Studio I'm not a web designer. I don't pretend to be one. I'd rather, if I'm going to do a website for me, I would probably hire a real web designer. However, think about that product for a minute. If you're pondering an offer, you can do an A/B test with 2 landing pages in literally an hour and have them launched today. You could even make an appointment with a web designer to do that in an hour. So you can launch those today, have them fully functional, and guess what? You're not paying somebody $1,200, and they'll look pretty decent at the end of the day. And you're getting them up instead of procrastinating and sitting on an idea. So totally doable with almost zero budget, and you're ready to rock and roll. To me, that's the beauty of that feature.
One of my favorite magic tricks these days is when I get on a call with a client and I'm like trying to sell them on the idea of full digital transformation and the benefits of having CRM and all the stuff that we do. And then in the end, really just showing people is what works. Like I know like things like showing people how you can automate the 5-star reviews showing up on socials. That's a no-brainer. They're like, oh wow, this is awesome. Yeah, I want it. But lately it's been the AI studio. Literally going and like looking at if they don't have a website, that's like the best. Oh, you don't have a website? Hey, look, I'm going to show you all these other things, but let me show you this AI studio as well before I show you all the other stuff. And I literally just, while I'm sharing screen and I'm talking to them, I use Whisper Flow. So I'm actually just hang on a minute. Let me just talk to my AI assistant. And I just give the brief through Whisper Flow into the AI studio about their business. If they have a logo, I drop it in there. And they're like, oh, what was that? I'm like, oh, don't worry about it. We'll come back to that in a second. Let me show you this other stuff. And then 5 minutes later, I'll come back to this. By the way, yeah, while we're talking, here's your new website as well. And so it's like they can see something concrete. Whoa, what? Yeah, it's part of our system. And then I even go, hey, by the way, it's super easy. You can even edit the text yourself, or you can talk to it, or we can do it for you. But yeah, we do all this stuff. And then they're overwhelmed. Just, wow, this is amazing.
Yeah. The same thing with, we were talking about those pillars that I do. And I come across a lot of clients that, and I'm guilty of this. So I'll say that right up front. That's really how I got involved in HighLevel. We were working on mega yachts for celebrities, and basically we would bring customers in. I'd never talk to them again until they came back. And maybe they come back next year, or maybe they come back the year after, and sometimes 3 years later, I'm like, oh, where you been? It's been a little while. Oh, it's been 3 years. I'm like, oh, I haven't talked to them in 3 years. They leave a positive review. They're happy, but we did a crappy job at following up with them. And I see, it's a common thread. Somebody can have a successful business, but think about how much more successful it can be if you kept the customers engaged. So database reactivation, it's such an easy thing to do. You're talking roughly 15 to 20 communication steps. It can be done with one workflow in HighLevel. And it blows my mind, Vid, that I run across people. I was like, what are you doing to get customers? And they're like, oh, we run ads. Oh, I said, oh, you do? I said, that's awesome. I said, then they do business with you. Then what do you do after that? And then they tell me they basically don't talk to them again, just like I did. So I said, let me get this straight. I said, you're paying for customers here, but you have a bundle of customers that already trust you. That's the easiest conversion you can ever do, but we ignore them. We bring in new ones. We'll ignore them and then just keep that cycle going. I said, it doesn't make sense. It would make sense to run ads, increase your customer base, keep them all engaged, and keep running ads to get more and more customers and build your business. That's something that almost every single business I deal with, they don't do it. And it's so easy to do in HighLevel. It's so easy. It just takes a little, you do it one time and it's repeatable over and over, and it's available for pretty much free.
Yep. This is why I signed up when I was upgrading to $497 back in 2020 through Michael Reimer and his framework of reputation first. To this day, I still think it's the brilliant strategy. This is the reason why I built my profit roadmap modules. Because if you have a customer, you do really good service for them, then leverage that experience they had into 5-star review, leverage that reputation that they've given you into a referral. Now that obviously they're really loving your business, then look at how you can upsell more services to them. And if you can systemize all of this as a system where every customer does all that, then start looking at investing in acquiring new customers. But if you don't have that initial bit solved, don't do anything else. Because if you do solve that initial bit, your churn is going to be always low. One customer is always going to turn into 2, or on average. And then when you put money to ads and generating new fresh leads, that's just adding, that's like now a printing machine. It's an engine that just works. So yeah, it's great. Like we've got a maybe, I don't know, 20 minutes or something. So I want to
Yeah.
maximize the time here for the listeners as well. What if we did this? What if we talked about the quickest way of generating the first 3 customers?
Yeah, let's do it. I'll tell
Right.
you exactly what works because I study this, so it works out perfectly. Number one, I can almost guarantee you, anyone that's listening, if they don't have their first client, their first 4 clients are in their phone. I always say that, and that's 100% true. Their first clients already exist in their phone. They got to go through their phone Rolodex. I'll be a little old school there for a second. They're going to go through their phone and they're going to reach out to friends, family, and people they know already and how they can implement it. And my way of doing that would be, you're going to offer them tier 1 pricing. I didn't say free. I said tier 1 pricing. So that could be a discount. And a discount isn't free because you want something in return. So you're going to provide the service. You're going to get paid while you learn. The biggest thing there is that you want to offset your cost of your HighLevel subscription is basically what you're trying to do. And essentially, what do you get out of it? Well, they're paying you to learn as you do their work, make any adjustments. But you also, as you mentioned, Vid, a couple of minutes ago, super important is you want a written and video testimonial, and you want them to recommend you because that one customer turns into 2 or 3 or 5. Okay. So that's important. Then I didn't say that it's going to be concrete and you're going to keep that tier 1 pricing. You're going to go to tier 2 pricing. And how do we get tier 2 pricing? Well, the same thing. You're going to reach out to people that maybe didn't go for your tier 1 pricing, but what I found is that when you go out to your friends or people that you know, even acquaintances, and you say, hey, listen, I got this business, I'd really like to do business with you, they kind of get a little apprehensive, like you're trying to sell them something. If I'm new at this, and I recommend this to people that are getting started, is that instead of doing that approach, you go to them and say, listen, I said, I just started this new AI business. I'm automating small businesses and medium-sized businesses. I know you know a lot of them. Would you help me and introduce me to 6 of people that you think may be a great fit? Instead of asking them to buy, you're asking them to help you. And what does that do? So they're leveraging their trust with their friends and recommending you. And they're off the hook because they're not the person writing the check. And most people are very open to helping other people. From what I found, they're not going to be like, no, I'm not telling anybody about your business. They're going to help you. Okay. And then, like I said, that's going to keep going and going. And then once you're going to keep increasing your product, because once you start that flywheel turning, you're going to have a steady stream of clients. And what's going to happen is you're going to have to titrate to effect, because you're going to have to make decisions. You're going to get overrun, or you're going to have to hire people, and maybe you don't want to do that. So raise the prices and maintain the lifestyle and the business model that you want to have. That's super important in my eyes. And then keep the customers happy. Some cases you may have to defer other work to other people, or maybe not even take it on because you want to stay focused on what you're doing. So I think that's how you're going to get your clients initially. That's going to be your best bet for sure. And then go from there. You'll never always be prepared is the next set of customers, because you never know where you're going to meet them. If you're selling voice agents, just have a demo on your phone. You could even set it up in HighLevel where you have a screensaver with a barcode. So you meet somebody and, oh, what do you do? Oh, I automate small businesses. I do voice agent. Well, they can just scan that barcode with their phone and it dials it automatically, and they talk to a demo right then and there. But you never know where that could be. I've met them on cruise ships. I've met them at a bar. I've met them at a restaurant. I've met them pretty much at a coffee place. So you just never know. And if you don't spread the word for yourself, who else is going to do it? If you sit there idle and don't talk about it, I wear the hat. I've gotten a lot of clients doing that.
So student approach first. If you bare bones starting out, 100%, I like it. It's a no-brainer. If you then get in some traction, you said it, who else is going to spread the word for you? Let's talk about that. Let's talk about where you're at the stage where you want to do active outreach now. And let's go with, I don't know, voice AI as the offer. You've got a framework for it. You've got a bit of a model there with landing pages and a demo that's custom.
So we built our own system. Essentially, we use Google Maps as our first layer. It's all built in. So we prospect there. So we can say, I'm going to look up 100 electricians in Miami, and it'll grab that data. And we run it through 12 different data sources to enrich that. So we basically know everything about their business. And then immediately I can take those 100 leads and I can turn them into demos. So it goes out to their website. It builds the voice agent, chat agent, puts it on their own website, and then sends them a custom landing page with those fully functional, and syncs it to HighLevel, and then goes through automations on the back end where it books appointments and so on. But I can send out, in literally 5 minutes, I can send out 500 demos. Now, with that said, I don't recommend that. What I recommend is a little bit different approach. I recommend, because we've studied this, and you could spray and think you're going to do well, but realistically you don't. What I would suggest is do exactly what I said, get the demos built, and then put them into a queue and let the VA or yourself call the client and say, listen, I built a custom demo for you, just like you just did with your website approach. It's the same thing. When you call that customer and say, listen, I built a custom demo on your website, I'd really like to send it to you. Would you be interested in seeing that? Most people are intrigued. They're like, wow, this guy went out of his way for me and I don't even know him. And he built it already. And I'd like to see really what he put on my website. So then and just say, listen, I'm going to confirm your email. Here's what I have. Is that right? Yes, it's right. Okay, here, I'll send it over now. And you'll get a lot of appointments that way, rather than just sending cold emails out. Most people don't want that. They don't want cold emails like that. That's a pretty warm email, a warm approach that we use.
Doing it this way, you don't have to have a separate infrastructure like instantly. You can then email them directly from HighLevel, because now you've engaged with them over the phone, so they are expecting your email. And you could use the power dialer inside GHL to do that, to do the queue thing. I like it.
Yeah, you can do that. And then, like I said, you can go through and I could build 500 demos in 15 minutes, already custom with their branding, their website, everything totally custom to them. And the beauty of it is they can talk to it and they can text with it and chat with it. But really, that's one part of the offer, but that gets you in the door. And like I said, I think it shows a lot that you've actually gone out of your way, rather than just be an average salesman and say, listen, I'm going to send you this email with selling them something. They can actually see it, touch it, use it, and they know that you went out of your way before you took your first dollar from them. So that's a big deal.
You're playing into an important human psychology aspect, curiosity. People are curious. If you tell them, hey, I've got something that's for you, Bill, like, you can say me no, but they're still going to be, it's like those directory websites, like, hey, we created a free business directory link. It's ready for you. If you want it, just click here to claim it. It's the same thing, right? So those things works. And if you guys are listening, it's a very effective strategy.
There's so much tech out there, and listen, just be creative and do something a little bit different and stand out. And people don't want spam emails. I get them all day. I get a little irritated now with them, so I just delete them immediately. A lot of people, since they know I'm all into voice stuff, they're like, I had a call yesterday and they said, oh, we want to do outbound calling. Cold outbound calling. Like, I don't recommend that. We do it for a couple of clients that want to waste their money, basically, and it's the worst return on your investment. No one's going to answer a phone when somebody doesn't know the number. They're not going to pick up an unknown caller. It just doesn't happen. So you're wasting your money for that. Now, there's 2 ways that you can use HighLevel outbound calling effectively. Number one, if they filled out a form, what I would do, rather than just calling them, because a lot of people are like, speed the lead, we're going to call them right after they do that. Well, they're not going to pick up the phone. I can guarantee you that. So what you do is you send them an SMS. You say, listen, we got your form submission. I just want to let you know I'm escalating this. You're a very important customer to us, potential customer. I'm going to escalate this to my sales team. I'm going to have somebody call you in the next 5 minutes. And then you make the outbound call to them and you're going to get a better success rate. But that's one little step. The other thing is what I've termed this, and it's worked for me. I've made a decent amount of money utilizing this technique. Been very effective. It's called proactive service reminder. So if you have a service business, maybe it's an HVAC company, but they have a client base, and every year that their customers should be getting a summer checkup for their air conditioner. So at the month 11, you do a few calls to them. It just reminds them. It's kind of like the dentist. Same thing. The dentist needs the same thing. You need your cleaning every year. But think about it. If they don't remind you all of a sudden you go in for your cleaning and they're like, I'm looking at your chart here. I haven't seen you in 2 years. And you're like, has it been that long? And people just lose track of time. So if you could do those proactive service reminders, it's instant revenue. I did it when I tested HighLevel voice AI outbound for HighLevel. I made the first phone call for them. And basically I launched that. In the first week, I did $36,000 as a result of using that technique. And it works. And I put a video on my YouTube that you can check it out. But that's really the benefit. Now people say, oh, I want to use outbound calling to do appointment reminders. Well, you don't need to do that because that's probably the worst use for it. You're better off sending a text message. It's the number one converter. It's going to be opened. It's going to sit on their phone until maybe they're watching TV later in the day and they get it. I would use that for appointment reminders.
Calls can be disruptive. Now, back to what you said originally with the method of finding out Google business details and then doing a calling outreach to tell them, hey, we build you voice AI agents. Where would you like us to send it to you? But then you said nobody picks up the call. So how do you go overcome that with that particular strategy? Do you do it only on the back of is it a cold call or how do you do that?
No, yeah, because you're calling the business. And obviously, if you call a lawyer's office, you're not talking to the lawyer. You're going to talk to the front desk or you're going to talk to the office manager. But you're calling a business. I'm not calling somebody's cell phone. A lot of these people are calling people's cell phones. They're calling businesses with automated dialing. It's just not going to happen. But the other thing is we already know who we're calling. So when I told you we enriched that, we already know who the office manager is. We already know who the decision maker is. I'm not going to ask for, if I'm calling a neurosurgeon's office, I'm not asking for the neurosurgeon. He doesn't want to talk to me. Their office manager is the one that you want to talk to. And more often than not, you can get in touch with them or their front desk. And even if you get just the receptionist, you're going to say, I know Lori is the office manager. She's tied up. Is it okay if I send it to you and you can get it over to her? And a lot of times that'll do it. All you have to do is get it in their hands and you'll get a response back. And once they get it, it's automated. So they're going to get a calendar invite anyway on the back end with HighLevel.
Yeah. So basically higher quality, more prepping, more enrichment, not the big volume, smaller volume, but really well-researched volume. And you're going to get better results.
Yeah, and you can do a decent amount of volume and exactly what I'm doing. Listen, instead of sending 500 demos rapid fire, maybe you're only going to send in 8 hours 100 demos, but your return's going to be better. And the beautiful thing about it is the system that we built, if you're an agency owner and you want to just get a VA to do it, it's totally doable. You can have anybody do it. And it's on autopilot. And all they have to do is make a phone call and just take the opportunity card and move it from point A to point B, and the demo's in their inbox.
Now, I know we didn't talk about it. I know you were busy and we're going to dial this in a little bit as an offer for the guys listening. But I know that you have this as an offer, as an affiliate offer. If the guys wanted to get a hold of this system, could we put a link? Okay, I'm going to set up a website for you guys.
Yeah, so it's easy. I already have it. It's basically, it's in insaneaioffer.com. And I will make it so your listeners get an extra bonus. And I will we can give them a coupon code and make sure that they get a little something special. And there's no charge for us. So you use our link to sign up and we deploy the system. We set it up in your HighLevel account. We cover all the API costs. There's no software subscription. It's totally free, zero. I don't need your credit card. You don't ever give me a credit card. And then we give you our bonus stack. We've built our own HighLevel marketplace. So you get a gift card every single month. And then we do 6 calls a week in our community as well. So we do 2 technical implementation calls where it's Q&A for tech related issues. And we found that this is a huge thing, is that a lot of people are very techy, but they don't really know how to sell. So we have a sales team that does sales related training to sell products, help with your offer and help present it. And then lastly, we found this is a necessity as well, is that we do ongoing training on different features of HighLevel twice per week. So we just kind of pick a different topic, and then they have recordings as well that they can listen to. So that's kind of our structure. It's totally free. HighLevel pays us, so it's all good. And we have an amazing system, but it's insaneaioffer.com. insaneaioffer.com.
aioffer.com. So guys, go check it out. Michael, we're at the end of the interview. Thank you so much, mate. It's been looking forward to this, and I'm glad to hear that you're doing well and everything's going really well on the business side. So thank you again for being on. And yeah, let's wrap it up.
Vin, I'll tell you, I looked forward to this, and I appreciate you inviting me for the second time. I really do appreciate that. That tells me a few things. Maybe we were well received on the first round and you said, hey, listen, I want to have Mike back. But beyond that, I really, and I've told you this, and you didn't ask me to say this, but you have the most well-structured professional podcast I've ever seen. And that's why I've sent other people to you to say, hey, listen, talk to Vit. He's got the podcast thing dialed in, and it's always so informative and professional. It's my pleasure to carve out the time for you, and I'll do it anytime.
Thank you, Michael. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And guys, thank you so much for listening to today's episode on the High Level Experience as well. If you've enjoyed today's episode, then please share it with your fellow agency mates and other high levelers that you think would benefit from listening. For show notes, links, and extra tips to help you grow your agency or your SaaS with HighLevel, please go to highlevel.com. Thank you, and have a great rest of your day, everybody.